It's only up from here, all I can do is win. Devil is alive, but you can feel it when you sin. Keep my family by my side, we closer than some twins. Keep my family by my side, it's all about the biz. It's only up from here.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Sorry we've been gone for a week. We were all battling some allergy issues, but now we are back and better. Today we are going to be telling you guys Cyrus's birth story. What a dramatic experience it was. As you can see, we have Cyrus with us today. He'll probably be going to bed soon. He's fighting it, so we'll see how long he lasts. Yeah, so let's get into it. So when we were going through like labor and stuff, we decided to make a note on the Apple like notes and add all of our close family and friends to it so that they would be up to date and we wouldn't have to like send out all these text messages or like follow up people with phone calls. It just made everything so much easier. So if you see us like glancing at the phone, it's because we're trying to re-jog our memory as to, you know, what happened so we don't leave out any details. So Cyrus's due date was actually on Halloween of last year, 2020. But of course, I really wanted him to be born in October. So was he born in October? No, he was not. He decided to come on November 3rd of 2020. 7:09 p.m. I did everything to try to get him like out. I was like walking daily, multiple times a day sometimes with my friend Lo to walk him down to get him to go down and put me into labor, and it was just not working. So he decided he was gonna come on his own time, and that's exactly what he did. So for Halloween, of course, he didn't come, so I really wanted to paint my belly like as a pumpkin. So the artist, Mike, painted my belly, and I'll insert a picture here so that you can see how it looked. Okay, so let's get into the story. So on Monday, November 2nd, I woke up at like 2 in the morning because I was experiencing some contractions. They weren't too intense yet, so I like woke Mike up and was like telling him like, oh my gosh, like I think we're getting close to time. I'm feeling some contractions. So then he was like, okay, let's time them. And so I'm like, okay. So we're timing them, and they were like 6 minutes apart. So we knew that, you know, it wasn't time for us to go to the hospital. So
what's the whole thing again?
It was like 4-3-2 or 2-3-1, something they have where it's like how far apart the contractions are and how long they're lasting. I forgot the number. If I remember, or I'll look it up, then I'll drop it down there so you can see. But we knew that we had to be at a certain thing before we could go to the hospital. So at like 2:15, 2:30 in the morning, they were like, you know, 6 minutes apart. So we were just like waiting.
Tell me the whole story, like how you woke up and was like going crazy because you were feeling all these contractions.
Yeah, I was.
And you were like, it's here. Oh my gosh. Let's go.
I was so excited, y'all. Like I was like, my baby's about to be here. I'm about to meet my son. I was hyped.
And I'm like, really?
He was like, for real? It's time? It's time? So yeah, so like
everything was already packed, so
yeah,
we just go ahead and go.
Yeah, we were like prepared because we had been ready for him to come. So we had everything packed by the door. All we had to do is grab the bags and go. We had our snacks and everything.
And probably didn't use half the bag.
Yeah, for real. But anyway, so yeah, so like then around like 2:45 in the morning, they changed from like, they were varying between like 3 and 5 minutes apart. And then like they gradually just got more and more intense. So like around 4 a.m. we decided that we were gonna head to the hospital. Okay, I'm sitting on the front porch. We're about to head to the hospital now. Usain is out here with me. I went to go dump the trash. He's back now.
Contractions are about 3 to 4 minutes apart, and excuse me, we are, like I said, about to ready to head to the hospital.
Yeah, so we got everything in the car, and you know, I packed it up fast. I made sure we had everything. I didn't want to forget anything because, you know, once you're there, you can't leave.
Because COVID.
So, you know, I'm zooming through the streets, going about 90 on the freeway.
He
You
was out there.
She's not going crazy in the car. She's just trying to breathe, and I'm just trying to get there. So we get there, pull up, they take her, and they send me to go park. So I'm like, the whole thing was she didn't want me to be separated from her. So as soon as we got there, we got separated.
Yep. It's like you went out, you went in the car, and then I was like, they like put me in a what's it called, wheelchair, and like wheeled me through. So they wheeled me through the hospital, and I'm like, the whole time I'm thinking, how is he gonna, there's like so many twists, so many turns, get on the elevator, get off the elevator, make a right, make a left, up, down, side to side.
Right. The parking garage is not even close to the entrance where I had dropped her off. And so really there was no parking there, and I would have to go all the way back to the garage, but luckily they just let me park in some administration spot, whatever, and I was up there quick.
Yeah, he was. Like, I checked in triage with the nurses, and then I was in the room. They told me to change into like this gown, and I'm like literally like in the room shaking. One, because it was cold, and two, because I was still experiencing the contractions. So I'm like shaking, trying to take my clothes off and trying to put on this gown, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like in my head all I kept thinking about is where is he? Mind you, we probably only had been separated for like 10 minutes, like but I'm like freaking out because I'm thinking like he's about to come, like, and I didn't want it to be like I'm in labor and like so far along or whatever, and then he wasn't gonna be there or whatever. Like, I was just super nervous, and I didn't want him to leave my side. So yeah, so then we're like in triage. It's like 4:30 in the morning, and they check me. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and they checked me, and they told me that I was not dilated at all, y'all. Like, not 1 centimeter, not nothing. I was not dilated. I was shook because, like, now I know what the pain felt like, but I was feeling like, you know, some pain. So I'm like, there's no way that I'm not dilated. So they were,
the whole time she was downplaying the pregnancy pain. Oh, this is nothing.
Yeah.
This is nothing.
I was like, this is manageable. Like, I can manage this pain. Like, little did I know it was gonna get way more intense.
And then they gave her the Pitocin.
Wait, we ain't there yet.
Oh.
Chill out. You trying to rush through the story. So because I wasn't dilated, they were like trying to like send me back home, and I was like, dang. So then they were like, okay, well, we'll give you like 2 hours, and then we'll check you again. And they told me that I could like bounce on this ball or like walk around or whatever to help like get myself dilated.
So I've been checked, and I am not dilated at all. It is now, what does that say, 5:30? 5:30 a.m. It's very disappointing. So I'm just going to do some walking, and I'm currently bouncing on this ball to try and see if I can dilate so that I can be kept here in the hospital, because I went through all this pain already. I'd really be sad if I have to go home. So we'll see.
And that did not work. 2 hours later, I was still at 0 centimeters dilated.
And this is the second now. 2 days after he was due.
Yeah. So 2 days after he was due, and I was not dilated at all. So they sent us home. But they did give me like some medicine to like help me sleep, because the contractions at that point in time were like pretty like getting intense, or they were pretty intense. but manageable still. But I was really tired because I hadn't really slept at all like that night. And I wanted to be able to, you know, sleep when I got home. So, why are you looking at me so, huh? I'm telling your story. So they gave me some sleeping medicine, so that when we got home I could like rest, and yeah.
She didn't use it.
I did take it.
You did?
Yeah, I took it.
I didn't think you took any of that.
Yeah, I took the sleep.
Scared.
I took the sleeping medicine. And I had a doctor's appointment that same day too. So we got back home, probably around like 8 a.m. The contractions were real. Like I was in a lot of pain, but I had a doctor's appointment that same day. I went to the doctor's appointment and they checked me again and they told me I was a 1/2 centimeter dilated. I was so disappointed, and I decided to come back home and whew.
She was going through it.
We'll drop in some footage so y'all can see, because I was going through it, y'all.
You got it, babe. You got it.
It got really bad. Like we were in our living room and I was like laying over the couch with like my arms on the couch like this and just like rocking, and he would like put counter pressure on my back when the contractions came because they were so intense. It hurt so bad. And I was
learned
just
that
like,
in classes.
yeah. We learned about the counter pressure and how that helps in our parenting classes that we took before, so that we would, you know, be good parents. But yeah, we learned about the counter pressure and like meditation, getting into your zen and listening to calming music and all those things. So I was doing all of that stuff. And I think it really helped. It helped me be able to last as long as I did. But around 7 o'clock on the 2nd, we went back to the hospital because my contractions were about like,
The pain got worse.
yeah, the pain was excruciating, and my contractions were more like back to back to back. So we went to the hospital. I'm like crying, like on the way again, whole car fiasco. That time you had to park farther, right?
Yeah. That time they saved me.
Yeah, that time they didn't save him. So go again, and I go into triage because they send you to triage to make you check before they get you actually like officially checked into the hospital. And we get there like 7, and while she was checking me, she broke my water on accident, she says. Because I was only 2 centimeters dilated. So you have to be, I think, like 3 or 4 for them to be able to keep you. And like she knew I was in pain, so I'm pretty sure she like broke my water on purpose so that I could stay. Are you getting sleepy? Yeah, you're getting sleepy. Yeah. So she broke my water, what I will say was on purpose so that I could stay in the hospital. So now it's like 8 o'clock. We're getting admitted. And you know, I'm still in pain and trying to, you know, push through. And so we get into our hospital room, we get settled, and I'm still like trying to push through, but I'm like exhausted at this point because I never really like got to sleep. Yes, they gave me the sleeping medicine. Did it really help me sleep? Like it made me sleepy, but I didn't really like sleep. Around 11 o'clock, I folded and I got an epidural. I really wanted to have a natural birth. But you know, the pain was just really intense, and I just kept saying to myself, like, why are you enduring this pain when you could, you know, not feel it? Like, why would you do that? So I got the epidural. It was super quick, super easy, super painless, and it's bless you. So after I got the epidural, I was able to like finally get some sleep. I was still contracting at that time, but it wasn't as much, obviously, because the epidural slows down your progression, which was another reason why I wanted to have a natural birth. Yeah. So that's when they gave me the Pitocin to help my contractions
Gotcha.
speed back up.
Yeah, that chart was looking crazy.
Yeah. The chart was insane. So that was like at 11. So then about like 3 hours later, they came in and checked me again. And at that point in time, I was 6 centimeters dilated. So I was progressing, but like super slowly. Then they let me sleep like for a good amount of time. So then around 7 a.m., I ended up finally getting to like 8 centimeters. And I was so happy. What are you doing, boy? I was so happy because the nurse was like, oh, you're moving, you're progressing along now. We'll have this baby out by noon. And I was like, yes. I was like, I will be my baby by noon. I'm going to be pushing, da da da. But then, you know, it was 8 centimeters, 8 o'clock, 8 centimeters, 9 o'clock, 8 centimeters, 10 o'clock, 8 centimeters.
Say hi, honey. It's a video.
What's up, champ?
So, still in the hospital. My lips are like super chapped. I am currently 8 centimeters dilated. It is 10:23 a.m. She turned up the Pitocin because my contractions were becoming irregular. So, I'm currently at 18, and the highest you can go is 20. I'm not really feeling much because of the epidural, but I do feel pressure when they come. So, we're just gonna see how this goes.
I'm just sitting there like, what is going on?
They had me on all kind of stuff. Like, what's the ball called that they put me on?
Peanut thing.
They had me on a peanut ball, switching my positions. They kept coming in the room and like turning me this way, turning me that way. Put your butt up in the air, do this, do that, like trying to get him to like come down more and more and more. The boy, he did not want to move. So at this point, it's like, so it's like 5:30 in the evening. Mind you, they checked me at 7 o'clock in the morning and I was 8 centimeters. So now it's 5:30 in the evening, still no progression, still stuck at 8 centimeters. So my midwife came in the room and she's like, I know this is not what you want to hear, and I know this is not on your birth plan, but we think that you should get a C-section because your son is not moving down. And we don't want, him to go into distress. So, I, at that point, got super scared because, I didn't want to have, major abdominal surgery. So, like, my eyes start getting teary-eyed, and I'm, like, looking at Mike, and he's looking at me, like,
Encouraging.
Yeah, he was super encouraging, and I'm just, like, he knew I was scared.
That's not the route you want to go, so.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted, like, at all, so.
That was the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And it kind of happened.
Yeah, it was definitely worst case scenario, and then it had to happen, but, it got him here. So we went into the OR after that, and we got some good footage of that. So, like, they took me in first and, like, prepped me for surgery, and had him get all like dressed up in all what's the gear they have you put on? They had you put on like a hat, a little mask thing, just the whole like a little doctor. I was like, okay, Dr. Bay, coming in here. Your daddy was looking like Dr. Bay. So, you know, they had me in there, and then what they do is they like numb you or whatever. And so they like kept pressing me like with this needle to make sure that I couldn't feel what, you know, the needle pressing me. Anything, if I thought I felt that needle, I'm like, yep, I can feel it, give me more, give me more, give me more. I was not trying to be like, I'm feeling it. Yeah, I wasn't trying to feel it. So finally, I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I can't feel anything. And they're like, okay, we're gonna go ahead. So they told you that they would come and get you once, you know, it was time. So by the time they had brought him in the room, I was already cut open. They had like a whole drape up, like, so from like my chest down was like draped.
So basically, I came in the room right before they were about to finish out the operation.
Yeah, because they already cut me open and everything and like moved stuff around. But so they brought him in the room, so he's like sitting like right next to my head on my left side. You are just so enthused about what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm telling how you was born. And we're just sitting there, and then he's like, oh, you already cut her open? I remember you saying that.
I know, I'm like, dang, y'all said don't be there when y'all do it.
So, yeah, we'll pop in some footage here so you can just kind of see what that experience was like with us being in the ER and him coming out.
So you want to look at the camera?
I like it too much.
Here's your few choice words.
No?
You know what, man?
No what?
Say anything.
No. Is this the point where I feel vaginal? Is this the point where I feel vaginal?
You may start, yeah, and plus it's pressing down really hard right around on the top of your pelvic area, so you may feel some.
Oh, they're doing it right now?
Doing what?
They're working right now?
Oh yeah, they made the incision before you came in the room.
Oh. Wow.
We're deep in it right now. Got beautiful hair. There's your baby. 1909. You can move this arm too. He's beautiful.
Hey, buddy.
Oh my God, he's fat.
Oh my goodness.
I don't like it one bit. Congratulations.
Hey. You see it, baby?
Beautiful. As soon as they check him out, and if he's good, they'll bring him over here too. They gotta check him out first.
You hear that crying, baby? You did it, baby.
Oh my God.
Hey, guy. Congrats, Pops.
Look at all their hair, though.
You have a name?
Cyrus.
Cyrus.
He looks just like me.
You have a hat over there?
What's up, buddy?
Lots of pictures, okay? Happy birthday, Cyrus. Kiddo.
Hey, buddy. I went to go tagging on her, and pretty much it was like so aggressive. So I'm like, damn, why they yanking on her so much or so hard? And then I'm like, this dude's head must be huge. And then they pull him out like.
That's literally how it was. They were like, here's your baby.
Here's your baby.
I can't see his head. Yeah, and it was crazy because the reason why like I got stuck at 8 centimeters is because his head got stuck on the right side of my pelvis. Like, I'm a slim girl. Like, you know, my hips are not that wide. So like he got stuck on the right side of my pelvis and he couldn't progress anymore because his big head was stuck. So like as they're like getting him out, they had to like go inside and like push his head back up inside of me just so they could pull him out through my stomach. So yeah, I felt the pop happen when they popped him out of my pelvis and like pulled him out or whatever. It was so surreal just like seeing him, and I just like started crying, and I couldn't believe how big he was. Like the first thing I think I said was like, oh my god, he has so much hair. He was so big. And then like they didn't like put him on my chest or anything after they pulled him out.
Cleaned him off, weighed him, took his temperature, made sure everything was good.
Yeah, he got to go over like and see all that while I'm just like over looking to the side like, oh, what's going on, as they're like putting all my organs back inside of me and like sewing me up.
Cutting the umbilical cord wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, he didn't want to cut it. He was like, nah, I don't want to cut. Like all before when I would be like asking him, he'd be like, come here. Yeah, he did not want to cut the umbilical cord. Like I remember all before I was like asking you like, and you were like, nah, I don't want to cut that. I don't want to cut that. Why were you like so like not wanting to cut it?
I don't know. It's like hurting the baby. I mean,
He thought it was gonna hurt the baby. It ain't gonna hurt the baby. So they weighed him. Tell him how much he weighed.
9 pounds 3 ounces.
Big boy, big body.
But that wasn't it. You know, that was the highest part of it.
That was the high, and then the low hit, and
this is kind of the time where I started freaking out the most, only because initially, you know, having a baby, knowing how it affects women and the possibility of them losing their life delivering a baby for you. Not only that, but you know, the statistics on African American women having babies and having complications when they do have babies. This kind of situation that happened after we had the baby kind of like makes you like wonder like what could have been. So basically, after she had the, you know, C-section or whatever, she was recovering. But when the nurse would always come over here, she would like feel on her stomach to see how her wound was. And like when she would feel it, gushes of blood would come out. And it was like something she thought was like not normal, because, you know, she expects bleeding, but not like this amount of bleeding.
Let me clarify. I was hemorrhaging. So like after you give birth to a baby, the nurses need your stomach so that your uterus can shrink back down. So when he's talking about the blood and the bleeding, it's all the blood coming out of your vagina.
Yeah.
He said, ew.
Not a pretty sight.
Yeah. So continue on. It was a lot of blood, like abnormally, you know, a lot. So that's what the hemorrhaging was.
You know, she was a great nurse. Most of them were great nurses. You know, she felt like something was wrong or abnormal, and then
okay, so Cyrus was getting fussy, so we stopped recording to put him to sleep real quick. So now Mike will carry on with his part about the nurses.
yeah, so, you know, nurses was cool. Really nice, actually. Make you feel real comfortable with everything that's going on, and, you know, all the hectic emergency situations that you had to partake in. So, it's, you know, at that point, it was very scary. You know, they said she was gonna be in and out. That didn't happen. Like she was gone for about.
But you gotta tell them why I was gone. You don't remember?
No.
So because I was hemorrhaging, I had to go back into surgery. So my midwife came in and she tried to just like go up inside of me and like with her fingers try to figure out something. I don't really know exactly what she was doing with her fingers, but she went in with her fingers and tried to do something. But that did not stop me from hemorrhaging. It stopped me from bleeding. So then I had to have an emergency DNC, which stands for something and something. I can't remember. But basically that just means that they go inside of you and they scrape everything out so that, you know, you don't have any issues. So I went in and had that emergency surgery for them to scrape everything out so that I wouldn't like get an infection or have internal bleeding, which could lead to a host of other issues.
But they didn't say that beforehand. They just said that's what they end up having to do, but because they didn't know exactly why she was bleeding so much.
No, she told me that I would have a DNC because I had called Nana. I called my Nana and my mom to tell them like what was going on.
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah. And I was like crying. And I was just looking at Mike like, if this is it, you know, you got Cyrus, take care of him, y'all gonna be straight.
Get that life insurance, y'all.
Yeah, I knew he was about to say get that. Hey, you never know what's gonna happen, and you gotta get that life insurance. So then I came out of surgery, like you said. What were you saying now? It was like longer than they had told you?
Yeah, they like she's gonna be, you know, right back out real quick, probably like 30 minutes. Ended up being like an hour and plus. And like, what is going on? Because I had the baby and I'm just there in recovery, just like waiting.
Mm-hmm. He's just like sitting there holding Cyrus, waiting for me.
And then she finally came back. Everything went well. And you're just like relieved. It's like, bro, there's no way I was gonna be able to take care of this kid.
Yes, you would have. God would have made a way for you to take care of him by yourself without me. Because that means it would have been his will for it to happen that way. So because I had to have a C-section and the DNC surgery, we had to stay in the hospital a little bit longer than I would have had to if we had just had a natural, you know, vaginal childbirth. So as you guys know, we went into the hospital on Monday. And we didn't get out until Friday, so we were in there for a full 5 days. Honestly, the nursing staff was amazing, so, you know, it wasn't too bad. Even after we get out the hospital, like being in the hospital and being out of the hospital, but having to go through like those 2 surgeries, like I really had to depend a lot on him and my mom because she was here with us for the first week and a half. And the nursing staff to, you know, step in and help me and take care of Cyrus. And it's like when you become a new mom, like something just like switches inside of you and you just want to take care of your kid. But it's like because I had that, like I couldn't, whenever he was like crying, I couldn't just like jump up and like go get him, you know. So that was like kind of hard for me to deal with. But yeah, it got better over time. So best believe, like it was so funny because remember when we came home that day, bro, tell them about how he was driving home.
Oh, 10 miles an hour.
So slow. We didn't want to get on the highway. Nothing. So like we get home and then my mom like came here because she was going to stay with us for like the week and a half. So she got here maybe 20-30 minutes after we got home from the hospital on the Friday. And then his parents and his brother and sisters came over and saw Cyrus that same day or that same night. yeah, it was great. Cyrus was born on November 3rd, 2020 at 7:09 p.m. They popped him out of my belly, and it was the greatest day of my life. It was the greatest day of your life? Best day ever?
So far.
What's gonna top that? The birth of our daughter?
You never know.
Oh, so now you might be on board a little bit.
No.
He is not. He's like, we good with Cyrus. We don't need no more kids. Oh gosh. Alright, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to watch this video, Cyrus' birth story. We hope that you enjoyed it and that you learned some things. If you're a new mom out there, you know, you may, you know, have your birth plan and prepare and plan. That's the type of person that I am for anything that I do.
Yeah, she had us watching all kinds of classes.
Yeah.
But they came in handy.
They did.
I definitely suggest watching some form of education classes.
Yeah.
That's, you know, pre-pregnancy and after pregnancy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just not like a deer stuck in headlights.
Yeah. We took classes through my job. I won't say where I work because, you know, it's YouTube. But we took some classes through this place that I work. And they were very beneficial to us. And of course, I listened to like all of the birthing, pregnancy podcasts I could find, read up on everything, downloaded all the apps, all that stuff. But I say that to say this to all the new moms out there. You know, you can prepare as much as you want, but you know, pregnancy and giving birth to a child, like, you never know what's gonna happen. You just, it's okay to have a plan. It's okay to have your birth plan. It's okay to have, you know, expectations. I wouldn't say expectations, but like knowing what you want. But just know that that can change at any point in time, and there's really nothing you can do about it. So just be comfortable and really take in the experience and enjoy it, you know, for what it is. No matter how, you know, dramatic it may have been, that experience is what got you your little bundle of joy here. So again, you know, thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you next Sunday.